Hey guys, what's up? Hope everybody's having a good day out there today, and welcome back to another edition of Mental Mondays. And you guys know this is my favorite part of doing the YouTube channel is Mental Mondays. It's the least popular videos that I do, but it's one that I really enjoy doing, and I think it sort of brings up some important topics in life. And this is sort of one of those deals, not for everybody, but everybody that joins us every Monday. I can sort of consider it a club. So thanks for joining us today. Anyway, today's topic, what I want to talk about is innocence and the loss of innocence and how important maintaining innocence is. And I don't mean in a criminal sense. I'm talking about innocence in the term of how we perceive life, particularly when we're young. This has been something that's been a big part of my life. I sort of want to tell you guys a little story before I get into the video here, what I'm talking about. Some of you people, the guys that have been with the channel for a while, you've heard me talk about where I went to grade school before. It was Duquesne Elementary School in Joplin, Missouri. And this was like the epitome of like 1960s, the innocence of a small town school that has not seen any outside negative influence. It was all just like Andy Griffith Mayberry. This school was great. It was like there was nothing weird going on about it. There was no weird people in it. There were no bullies in it. The teachers were nice. The kids were nice. We had a really quaint little nice playground. The setting of the school was peaceful. It was just great. It was a great school to go to. It was innocent. It was just that everyone that went to that school, including myself, came out of there maintaining their innocence within their childhood intact as far as a school environment. Maybe not at home as much, but a school environment. And for me, that was an important part of my upbringing, because I think that developed sort of a foundation of kindness and compassion for me as a person early on in my life, just being around that. And that changed quickly when I got into junior high. When I got into junior high, that innocence was completely lost. I went to a junior high it was a school full of bullies, a lot of mean kids, a lot of negativity. And you talk about a rude awakening for me after coming from that particular background. So today what I want to talk about is basically I want to target here the people that are responsible for robbing innocence from people and how important it is to maintain that. Now, robbing innocence, in my opinion, is I consider it a crime. It's one of those things that does not get enough attention, and I don't care how you want to frame it. It's like, it can be something as radical as a war criminal like Vladimir Putin that is terrorizing and killing children in Ukraine. It could be an abusive dad that is mean and is physically abusive to their kids and their wife. It could be losing your innocence when you're at a convenience store and you pull up to that convenience store with your kids and you see some meth heads out in front of the store that cause a scene. There's a lot of different scenarios that cause kids, particularly, and that's what sort of this video is about, to lose their innocence. And one of the things that I want to address in this video here is there's two different elements. Is like, how do we deal with this so it doesn't happen, and how does the like law enforcement or people that are beyond the private citizen deals with it. I'll start with my opinion on it. I don't have any respect for people that I don't have any respect for people that rob innocence, and I don't treat them with any respect. If I'm around somebody, or if I see somebody that I see rob innocence from a child, I call them out on it. I usually make a scene. I have no respect for those people, and I let them know it right off the bat. And that's just sort of the way I handle it. If it was up to me in a perfect world, every one of these people that I see that pull away and rob that innocence, that wounds kids by taking that innocence away from them, I would drag them down to Table Rock Lake and feed them to the turtles if it was up to me, every single one of them. I just have no respect for that. Like I said, I don't care if it's some abusive father, or it's something even beyond that. So the point is what can we do with it? What can we do to maintain that? I think one of the it comes from every single person. First of all, I think that there's a segment of people out there that they may be part of that themselves and not even know it. I think that everybody sort of has to evaluate or reevaluate, if they are responsible for robbing innocence to some extent. And you may say, well, Randy, it's not a perfect world, and kids have to grow up. They have to learn the ways of the world. They're going to learn the ways of the world soon enough. It's something that you do not have to force them. Children, when they're growing up, they need a safe environment. They need a safe, nurturing environment to where they can develop those qualities that make a good person. Because one of the things that I found out about kids, especially since I've had Elijah and being around kids, is kids have no built-in prejudices. They don't have racial prejudice. They don't have racial prejudices against other kids or any other lifestyle prejudices against other kids. The only prejudices they have are the ones that are installed and instilled by their parents, and that is the negativity about it. But in its inherent state, every kid that I've ever been around has that innocence born within them. It's something that's inherent in every single one of us. And the only time that you lose that innocence is if you let people like what I'm talking about, the abusive people, the mean people, the meth heads, the criminals, whatever like that. If you allow them to infiltrate society to an extent where they have an effect on that. And just because somebody wants to maintain innocence and somebody wants to lead a life of kindness, do not mistake that for weakness. I can assure you right now that is not the case. But like I said, children will learn soon enough that this is a cruel, harsh, tough world to live in. They don't need to learn that when they're growing up and when they're little. Those formative years are so critical that we maintain and give them that opportunity to experience that innocence. And I'm a pretty laid-back person for the most part, but there's one thing that will turn me into a dick real quick, and that is being around somebody that is mean to people like that, mean to kids, abusive, and robs innocence. I mean, that will turn me into an asshole in a second. Probably a lot of you guys too, as well. I just have no patience for that. A lot of it too. I've been talking about this week. If you've watched some of the videos about, it seems like each generation that goes by, we lose that a little bit more. It's like I grew up in the '60s. And I think that it was even more prevalent in the 50s, 40s, and 50s to some extent. It's like every single generation, the kids lose their innocence quicker. I've seen this. I've seen this just in observing the kids that I've been around over the past 20 years. They are much more wise to the world at an early age. And I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. I really don't. I think that breeds a cynicism into people as they get older. It breeds a negativity. It breeds some level of depression to an extent. And that can be changed, and it can be. And one of the best ways we can do it is, in my opinion, law enforcement needs to crack down on it a lot harder. When they see situations that are robbing innocence from part of society, and making society feel not safe and not that warm and fuzzy, they need to come down on that in a brutal fashion. I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter the person that it is. Every situation's different, but I think when it comes to something that affects the public health and well-being from an early age, I think law enforcement really needs to crack down a little bit harder on that, because like I said, it can be something as simple as, you see a bunch of freaking 20-year-old idiots driving 100 miles an hour, down the street, flipping everybody off at the stoplight with your little, 7 and 8-year-old kids in the car with that. I mean, those assholes would be in jail if it was up to me. I mean, I'm probably a little bit radical with that, but man, I just got no respect or no patience for those type of people. So anyway, I've just been thinking about this a while, guys. I think a lot about back when I was in grade school, when I was in my formative years from like 6 to 12 years old, I like I said, I'm able to reflect on that, and that innocence, that the opportunity I had to live in an environment of innocence, not only in my home life but my school life, before I was exposed to the world, really made me defensive and aware of, you know, how precious that is. I mean, there's no reason that it has to be the other way. I mean, it's not like we have to, you know, deny reality and you know, live in this fantasy world, but we don't have to break out of it that quick. And I think a lot of it is that if we would institute laws that came down harder punishment wise with those type of people, I think you see a lot less of it. So anyway, I hope that made a little bit of sense, guys. Just wanted to throw that out there. Hope you guys are having a good day. Much appreciated you while watching the video, and we'll see you guys next week.